Hi and welcome to another narration, presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. Please be so kind as to throw punch the like button and smack the arse of the subscription button as well. And remember to chokehold that notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. And by subscribing, you'll be the first to see all of our new spooky creepypasta stories. I would like to reach out and say a huge thank you to those of you who have been supporting Cryptids Roost financially with your sponsorship. We pray the good Lord replenishes you abundantly, and to those of you who will, later on. We pray the good Lord bless you as you do so. And also a huge thank you to everyone for always supporting the channel with your likes, comments and shares as well. It is all very much appreciated. God bless you all. And now let's just take a moment's silence for all the haters. That'll do. You should see an info card pop up during the duration of the video. Each of these info cards, top right corner, will direct you to the playlist for the author of the story for this video, and will show you other stories from this author that you may also enjoy. Be sure to check out the end screen at the end of the video. This will direct you to two more videos. One will be the most recent video uploaded, and the other will be a random video from within my catalogue of stories that I have already narrated. So be sure to check those out. And why not hashtag cryptidsroost in your comments. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. I found my likeness in a torture game, part 1. This awesome series is written by cesly1987, a wonderful author over on Reddit. And if you would like to read more of his works, the Reddit link to his profile and his subreddit will be below in the description. I'm a celebrity. I'm not bragging, just stating the facts. I've been in really big movies that you have probably seen. I'm also a female, and I get everything that comes with being a pretty girl starring in nerd culture action movies. I've had stalkers, I've had my run-ins with grabby fans, and I've had deep fake pornos made of me. I've dealt with it all. I think I had grown numb to it, but this current thing really tipped the scales. It scared me like nothing else. I was in between movies and staying at my home, relaxing for the next few weeks. Being paid millions for your work is fun, but I barely have the free time to enjoy it. But that may be the biggest first world problem ever. I share my house with a live-in nanny, my 6-year-old son and a maid and chef during the daytime. I've contracted 2 bodyguards to be with me at all times when I leave the house. When I'm home, one stays inside and one stays outside in his vehicle. They switch off every week. Mel and Tony, both good guys. Now you know the cast of characters in this virtual murder mystery. The really creepy stuff began the first day I flew back home from my filming location. Most of the first day I had spent with my son. I had been gone for 2 months and missed him so bad that it physically hurt. That's why I didn't notice the ominous message until night time, after me and Amanda had put my son to bed. I sat down at my PC to check my socials. My new movie was trending on Twitter. They had just released a trailer and the hype train was revving up. Yes, I could have checked my work emails from my phone, but I had a system. No work related things on my phone. My phone was a safe place. My constant friend when away from my home and family. It was easy to let your phone control you if you didn't set boundaries. I suffered a series of panic attacks when I was younger and let social media and the business overwhelm me. When my first movie blew up and made me a household name, my therapist told me to have a whole separate device for work stuff. I had forbidden myself from any stress on my personal phone, and it actually helped. So now I sat at my desktop PC with dual screens and a glow-in-the-dark keyboard. I had instructed my nephew to build me a capable PC, and he went out like I was a professional gamer. He built his dream PC, but at least I could check my email. I answered a few emails from my agent, scheduled an appointment at my salon. I needed to be a brunette for my next movie. Ordered a gift for my previously mentioned nephew, turning 17 this month. As I was checking the rest of my emails and sorting out spam for the junk folder, I saw a message marked in all caps. Miss J, please read message, urgent. I was a little frustrated as I clicked on the message to delete. This was supposed to be my secure work email, but sometimes fans found them and bombarded my inbox. I continued clearing junk mail and saw the same message at least 3 more times, from user Herald of the Void at livex.com. Either he was one of those obsessed fans, or he had a bot spamming me. I was mostly done when my speaker made the new message sound, and another message pushed the old ones further down the line, from Herald of the Void, subject Miss J, I know you came home today, please. The rest of the subject line was cut off. I felt my stomach drop. Oh God, it's another cyber stalker. Do I really even want to click on this email? My mouse cursor hovered over the email. As if the sicko on the other end could sense my trepidation, another message chimed in and I went from scared to angry. From Herald of the Void, subject, it's about your son's safety too. I knew all the dangers when I took the job. I knew I had rabid fans all over the world. I knew some of them were effed in the head. Somehow they think they owned me, or I owed them something because I was attractive and a nerd. But I tried desperately to keep my son separated from the paparazzi, creepy fans and Hollywood bullshit. So I clicked the message out of anger. Dear Jay, I am breaking one of my self-imposed rules that I have placed on myself. I'm coming directly to the subject of one of my simulators. I break my silence in order to bring a troubling matter to your attention. I am a video game programmer and designer, but you won't find me working for any big company like EA or Activision. The games I have made are high quality but exclusive only to the client who commissioned the game in the first place. The games I create are of a particular matter for clients with a rare exposition. The games I created would be considered shameful or troubling if my clients were discovered playing them. Yes, some are pornographic, but that is not where the extreme taboo comes from. I scooted in closer to the monitor. I had barely gotten into the mysterious message and my spidey sense was going off. It's like I knew this would be a moment to change my life. Before I knew it, my hand had gone from the drawer where I usually kept my cigarettes. The empty box inside had a sticky note with my handwriting on it, reading, "Be strong, for Jacob." I had quit 2 months ago for my health and my son. I was about to receive a very convincing reason to relapse. The message continued. I create realistic and graphic murder simulators for paying clients. The service I provide is very customizable. The client can request the name, age and appearance of the virtual victim. The client can give me any number of details to make it as accurate or surreal as they want. Right now, you probably scoff of my profession. Maybe you think me no better than a porno director or a virtual snuff film creator. but studies have shown that people exposed to extreme violence in video games rarely escalate to committing actual crimes in reality. I believe I give a virtual alternative to real-life violence, an outlet for the darkness inside us human beings. We are just highly aggressive and territorial primates that still think that they are trying to survive in the jungle. Our brains haven't evolved to a point that calm and reason always prevail. This is why I utilise this technology to pacify man's homicidal and toxic desires. I was intrigued and a little afraid as I read further, but I did roll my eyes at the gratuitous pontificating of the author on the other side of the message. He had people all figured out, huh? But, Miss J, I am a fan of yours, and I'm afraid your life may be in real danger. A client has commissioned me to create a murder simulation with you as the victim. I usually get requests like this. Politicians, actors, and ex-wives are the most requested for virtual victims. People in the public limelight make for the most detailed victim/murder scenarios I can create. The privacy invasion of social media has helped me craft more accurate, personalised scenarios also. I can import a scan of your face into my game, and I can take your voice and use it for dialogue and for the screams of pain. I have created an AI learning algorithm that can create deepfakes of your face and voice to make you say and do whatever the client asks me to create. Everything was going normal, or as normal as it can be in my line of work. The client had pictures, voice lines, even the layout of your home. These details are things that can be pulled from your movies, your home, from drone cams, and pictures you post on Instagram. I blushed in embarrassment. I knew a lot of my life was out for the world to see, but I tried to keep my house and kid private, like my very own safe place. But I had shared pictures of Jacob inside my home on my personal privated accounts I only shared with family and close friends. I had to close the account after a couple of months when creepers somehow infiltrated it, pretending they were people I went to high school with and catfishing most of my family. What's worse is that the man who lived in my house before was a popular athlete during his rookie year. He had MTV come by and do that dumb show, Cribs. The dumbass just helped everyone case his house to be burglarized. What weirded me out was how creepers dug up old high school yearbooks to impersonate friends from high school. It takes a strange persistence to get that close to me, and I was feeling that same uneasiness again. The letter continued. The client wanted the standard package, home invasion, multiple torture methods, but the client kept wanting more, sending more audio, more pictures, wanting more scenarios. He kept paying and I kept programming, but this is where things got out of hand. He asked for another murder victim, your son. I literally gasped when I read this, like I was acting in one of my movies. This had gone too far. Nobody brought my son into their sick fetish. I had to read on. I had to find out why this programmer had contacted me. Then pictures of your son started coming from the client. Some easy enough to find with some digging, but then the audio came. I think whoever the client is, the client wanted a male avatar, is close to you. Someone inside your home, someone inside your house, and I think his fetish, his fixation on you, is escalating to real life violence. I need you to play the alpha build of the game. I need you to go into your own murder to play detective. Only you can piece together who it is that wants to kill you. I believe it isn't a fantasy, it's practice runs for the real thing. I may have a despicable job, but I am not evil. I will not be complicit in murder, especially murder of children. My stomach dropped as I scrolled down and saw a file to unzip. It could be a trick or a Trojan horse virus. This could just be another convoluted way to hack my computer. I sat there quietly 10 minutes, mouse hovering over the file. I decided to take the risk. I had to keep my son safe. The file unzipped and started quickly, blacking out my screen. A bizarre 2D image faded into existence, very reminiscent of the development studio intros in the credits before a legitimate video game. It was a disturbing image of a man on a cross, like the Christian iconography you could find in any Catholic church. But where there should have been the face of Jesus or some poor sinner, there was the profile of the head of an enormous crow. Its beak opened in a screen and its black pool of an eye staring back at me. As I looked closer, I realised the crow man had multiple arms and legs also spread out and nailed on arms of the cross. I guess it was supposed to be a parody of the Vitruvian Man created by Da Vinci. I knew the image was meant to be disturbing, sacrilegious and cryptic, something a creeper would do to make himself seem edgy. The crucified anthropomorphic crow was drenched in red blood. The blood was animated to splatter onto curvy words below its hanging body. These words were being held together by thorny vines. The vine-strangled words said, "The Crows of Flesh Collective." This too faded off the screen to get to the main title screen. Text showed up with a fully rendered 3D model of my face staring back at me. Almost another parody of the beginning of Mario for the N64. It was surreal as I stared at my idly blinking and breathing double. A starlet's last night in a blocky red font above my visage. My face was realistically accurate, highly detailed and very spooky to see. I had done mocap face scans and all other such things for tie-in video games for my films, but this was the best yet. This wasn't a lifted asset from one of those games either. It was an original creation. I clicked my mouse with impatience and received a jolt of surprise as my digital face quickly contorted into a screaming face of agony. Both eyes blackened and swollen. Front teeth busted out and a nose splattering blood down my face. A horrid and distorted scream leapt from my two speakers. I screamed in unison with my computer counterpart as my beaten face flashed into a skull and disappeared, leaving a new set of options to choose from. The text menu read, "Skip to scene. A. Home invasion. Start on the street. B. Slasher. Start inside the house. Or C. Torture. Start in the kill room. Currently unavailable / in development." I took a moment to consider. I hated every second I had to play this sicko's fetish material, but I had to find out if the freak had content about me that couldn't be found on the web. Most importantly, I had to make sure my son wasn't in danger. I chose option B in a desperate hope it would allow me to spend less time in the game world. As soon as I found the evidence of a viable threat, I would contact my security team to revamp every safety protocol they had in place. The game started in a first person in what looked like the foyer to my home. It took me a bit to get familiar with the controls. I had a big brother growing up, so I knew my way around GoldenEye, Half-Life and Team Fortress. Many summer days of me and my sibling taking turns on my mother's clunky family computer, downloading anime, Linkin Park videos, scaring ourselves with horror games and destroying the computer with viruses from LimeWire. I just had to let the muscle memory settle back in from those distant days. First thing I did in-game was to look down at my feet in an attempt to see what my POV avatar looked like. I hope it wasn't like the old days when the programmers didn't include the player's body and you just seemed to be a floating set of arms and a shadow. I was in luck, sorta. Black boots, black pants, black shirt. Not much to go on, but the body appeared to be masculine. I looked around the digital recreation of my home. Most of the lights were off, leaving me hidden in greys and blacks. Only the green rapidly blinking of my alarm panel giving off any colour in the dark foyer. I approached the panel and triggered a text prompt on my screen saying, "Enter code to deactivate." A close-up of the number pad filled most of the screen. I swallowed hard before typing in the actual security code to my home. Nobody should know the code but me. And yes, I know this was stupid. I would change the code ASAP. But even my 2 security guys didn't know it. They had to swipe their keycards and enter a PIN. I sighed as red letters popped up on the screen saying, "Incorrect code. Use counterfeit security badge or finish your business before the police arrive." Finish your business? I asked myself. Could you speedrun the whole thing by setting off the alarm and they just run up and smack the intruder on the head? Of course, I knew where my room was, but I wanted to explore the rest of the house first. It was a 1-to-1 scale replica of the real thing. Same light fixtures, same tile, late 70s art deco vibe. When I first bought the house in this palm tree shaded gated community on a rolling hill, my nephew had jokingly quipped, "This looks like the mansion from the Manson family murders." I had laughed at his dark humour then. Now the joke didn't seem funny at all. One thing I did notice as I walked around my digital house was that none of the furniture was the same as its real-life counterpart. This was good. It meant the freak that commissioned this game was only guessing how the inside of the house looked, or just didn't care. Maybe it was just some harmless, twisted fantasy and not a real threat. The time finally came for me to check out my room. I stood in the virtual hallway facing my door, my son's closed door to my right. The prompt on the screen, E to open, mocked me, but I finally did press the button, causing the door to creak open slowly. I stepped into my dark room. My bed was empty and there was only a glowing light coming from my in-game computer monitor. I could see the silhouette of me sitting in the swivel chair back to the hallway, preoccupied with something on the glowing screen. I immediately felt a shiver go down my back and felt as if there were eyes on my back in real life. It was surreal to be a killer sneaking up on my virtual self while I sat in the exact same spot in real life. I couldn't take it, so I left the game so quickly, hopped out of my chair and locked the door of my bedroom. Feeling safer, I returned to my computer and took a seat to continue the game. Somehow I jostled my keyboard when I took a seat, causing my player to unsheath a knife with a stereotypical shing sound effect. The NPC modelled after me stood up from her keyboard, glitched in and out of a T-pose, before turning to me and saying, "Oh my god, who are you?" This freaked me out completely. It was my voice playing back through my computer's speakers for damn sure, but the cadence of the dialogue sounded stilted and unnatural, like it was a couple of voice lines spliced together. My digital double darted away from the computer, obviously alerted to the knife-wielding killer in her room and trying to escape. But her AI pathfinding must have been off, because she ran directly at me before turning on a dime to retreat further away. I had no clue what to do and swiped at her with my knife out of panic. I heard her scream in my voice, followed by the telltale thunk of landing at hit marker in a shooter game. "Oh shit, sorry!" I yelled out loud to my double, like she could possibly hear me. Now, my likeness character was holding her side and limping away while dragging a foot like the impaired animation from the RE games. She went to a shadow on the far wall and began doing something by the bookcase. I got the prompt, press F1 to open kill bag. When I pressed it, a new window popped up over the game, but the game continued in the background. It was a grid pattern similar to the inventory screen in any RPG. I cycled my mouse over the items within for a quick description. A knife, handcuffs, chloroform rag, pliers, duct tape, taser, and a syringe labelled Special Cocktail. I'll knock myself out. Yeah, that's what I'll do, I said out loud again to nobody in particular. I was really just trying to comfort myself during this surreal situation. I couldn't bring myself to murder my computer self, so taking a chloro nap was the best option. After selecting the chemical drenched rag, I hit F1 to close the window. To my surprise, my video game doppelganger had vanished. I spun the camera around searching for my sneaky self, but victim me was gone. I thought at first it was a glitch. The game had blipped my character model out of existence and I would have had to reload the game. But then I saw something peculiar. The corner where I had last seen myself had a bookshelf pushed to the side with a secret door revealed. "Oh shit! The panic room!" I yelled. I quickly looked up from my computer to the real life version of the wall with the door on it. When moving in years ago, the realtor had told me about the panic room installed by some CEO that got scared after watching the Jodie Foster movie. The CEO either had a short attention span due to a coke problem or legal problems causing him to disappear to a country with no extradition laws virtually overnight. The runaway CEO left his panic room project halfway finished, just an empty room with a locked door with an entry code nobody knew. So I had a bookshelf placed over it and had quickly forgotten about it. Besides, I had 2 armed security guards and a burglar alarm. In a sane world, that would have been enough. He has the blueprints to my home. He thinks the panic room is operational, I thought fervently. So he doesn't know what's going on inside my house. He's a pathetic loser with a murder fetish. I felt a sense of relief come over me and I quickly hit escape to pop up a logout menu. I felt gross, like mushed up paper towels floating at the bottom of a dumpster. I would have to take an extra long shower tonight. Maybe hire an extra bodyguard for the next couple of months or years. What do you want?" came my voice from the computer twin speakers. I went back to the live in-game screen and noticed a small surveillance camera flash with a red light above the panic room door. "I'm going to call the cops. You need to run." My voice came again at a choppy cadence, like my dialogue had been spliced together from multiple movie lines. I guess the game wasn't over. I would think it would be game over if the victim-to-be made it to a safe place or escaped. A new window popped up at the bottom of my screen. It was a dialogue box. There was a list of possible replies. Option A, intimidation. "Come out here now. Cut before I burn this house down and kill anyone coming to save you." The C word wasn't censored, but I refused to write it down. I hate that word. Option B, bluff. "I can do this all night. Your phone line is cut, signals jammed, and guards are dead. I wanted you to run to your little cage." Option C, negotiate. "You may be safe in there, but your little angel is still out here with me." My stomach dropped. There was an option to hurt my child. How sick was the creep who wanted this? How sick was the creep who made this? I clicked option C, having to know how far this scenario would go. I secretly hoped I could hear the home invader's voice, but it just skipped to my digital twin replying with a line from one of my early movies. My character screamed, "Don't hurt my baby!" Text popped up at the bottom of the screen saying, "Use her son to terrorise / convince her to come out." I had to stop for a while and compose myself. My hand on the mouse was shaking. How sick and depraved the world could be that some sicko got his jollies off by fantasising about hurting kids. I realised I might have to smoke after this, but something a little more bohemian than regular cigarettes. I would need it if I didn't want to suffer a panic attack. I walked my player to my son's room. I had to push through and look for any clues. I opened the door and stepped into the dark room. Colourful decorative letters were pinned to the wall, hanging over a small bed, spelling out the name of my son, Jacob's Clubhouse. Wait, did I say Alex earlier? Whatever, both names are fake. Let's go with Jacob now. I walked up to the bed to see the model of a small boy turned away from me, facing the wall, sleeping on a bare bed with no covers or pillow. I pressed the E button to interact, and the boy woke straight up from a deep sleep to turn and face me with no hesitation. "Oh Lord, my baby!" I said as I looked upon a perfect recreation of my son. I half expected a plain, unassuming asset to represent my 6-year-old. The whole game was about me, wasn't it? I doubted the client wanted the programmer to focus too much on designing my son. He was just going to be used as a tool to lure me out of hiding anyways. The least I expected was a player model around the same hair colour and approximate height of my son, but this child was spot on with its real flesh and blood counterpart. The freckles, the curly hair, the blue eyes, the dimples. Somebody had done their research. What is going on?" my child asked in a voice very similar to the real thing, but there wasn't enough for me to pin it down as his actual voice. The child just sat straight up stiffly and cocked his head to look in my direction. Again, dialogue options popped up. Option A: "I'm the bogeyman, Alex, and I've come to hurt you real bad. Grab him." Option B: "Lie. I just gutted your whole mother. Now it's your turn to scream." Option C: "Use sign language to tell him to be quiet. I'm one of your new bodyguards. Your mommy sent me to come and get you. Quick, grab my hand." This was it. This was the evidence I was searching for. I had a previously mentioned 17-year-old nephew and a 6-year-old niece, just 3 months older than my son. She was deaf, and of course her parents learned sign language for her. We decided to teach Alex ASL from a young age too, so my son could communicate with his cousin. I had a hard time learning ASL, but I had learned the bare basics. But my son took to it quickly and was fluent in it. When he wasn't practicing with his cousin, his nanny, Amanda, practiced with him. So this was a rather alarming and deeply personal tidbit of private information. I selected option C, and my son clipped out of bed and appeared to teleport in front of me. I guess there was no animation created for him getting out of bed naturally. Lead the boy back to the panic room and persuade J to open the door. A new objective instructed me at the top of the screen. I pressed the S key to walk backwards out of the room, keeping the camera watching my son as he stood awkwardly by his bed. As the distance increased between us, I thought that his AI was broken, but at the last moment he took off in a stuttered jog to catch up with me. Flashbacks of babysitting Natalia from GoldenEye 64 racked my brain. Now the stage was set. Me and my virtual son stood in front of the panic room door in-game. A loading icon flashed at the top of the screen and the frame rate dropped to a crawl before jumping back to life. "Don't hurt him," came my pleading voice from what I assumed was inside the panic room. "I'll come out, don't hurt him," my voice repeated in the same copy-paste repetition. There was no animation of the security door opening. My virtual doppelganger just blipped into existence in front of me, T-posing for a split second. As jank as some of the programming had been up to this point, I noticed what aspect of the game was given the most attention. It was my likeness. My facial expression scripted to be terrified, my body shaking, my posture slightly hunched, and my body spot on accurate. Too accurate. My character was wearing a white silk slip and clingy booty shorts. I was over-sexualized to the point where I could tell my character wasn't wearing a bra and was probably suffering from a severe wedgie. Option A, kill her. Option B, subdue her. Of course, no matter how morbidly curious, I wasn't going to select option A. So I chose option B, and my character held equipped a needle in his hand and poked towards my trembling body double. The special cocktail must have been potent because my character immediately ragdolled and collapsed to the ground. "Mommy!" screamed my son in a voice pitched to a higher tone. I turned the camera towards him and read the prompt. "Silence, child." I clicked the key to be greeted by a sickening crunch as my son's head twisted abruptly to the side and the boy fell to the ground like a marionette with its strings cut. "Oh God!" I screamed, pushing away from the keyboard in an instinctual act of repulsion. If my chair didn't have wheels, I would have tipped over. "Don't kill him!" I once again screamed as I watched the image of my dead son clip in and out of the ground slightly. "Just knock him out, you bastard! You stupid bastard!" I surely was going to wake up my real son if I kept on screaming at nothing, alone in my room. No, that wasn't right. I wasn't screaming at nothing. My emotions were directed at something tangible. I was scared, but more angry than scared. I was cursing at the programmer of this damn game, or at the sick asshole that commissioned it. I practiced the breathing method my psych doctor had taught me. I closed my eyes tight and focused on my heartbeat. Once my hand stopped shaking, I opened my eyes. My eyes opened once again, very slowly. I was greeted by the sight of my virtual unconscious self still on the ground, and my mangled dead son. Comical Z's wafted gently up from my motionless body. I wasn't left too long on wondering what to do next because the game had issued another prompt to hold my hand. "Take J." "Staging area?" I asked as I clicked on my body, hoping my player character wouldn't snap my model's neck while lying unconscious on the ground. Suddenly the model of my butt and right leg took up most of the screen. I was carrying myself. It felt very bizarre. My player character had hoisted my character's unconscious body over a shoulder, like a fireman carry. I saw a marker indicating a rally point somewhere in my virtual backyard. I hauled myself through my recreated house and stepped outside for the first time. It was spot on. Palm trees, pool, gazebo, large storage with attached upstairs apartment. The pool was lighted, giving a shimmering, calm midnight atmosphere. I figured all this detail could be ascertained from Google Earth. Hopefully it wasn't captured from some freak looking over my privacy gate. Now I knew exactly where the game wanted me to take the body. The standalone apartment above the storage shed. I hadn't thought about it since my ex-husband stayed there during our divorce. Now it was a room for my nanny, even though she had a room in the house. She could stay out there on her days off to get away from work. But I was only halfway correct. The marker led me under the steep stairs running up the exterior of the building. 2 green garbage bins were stored under the stairs. My character, now weighed down, slowly slogged over to the bins. Just another insult about my weight. I hit E on the bins and they rolled away on their own. I half expected to hear the Zelda jingle when a new pathway is unlocked. What it revealed was a rusty wheelbarrow, rope coiled inside, a black tarp crumpled behind it, and a standout item, an S&M ball gag. I cringed so hard at the sight. The ball gag made my skin crawl. I cringed even harder when I saw the options given to me. Option A. Sneak it off site to your kill room for more privacy. Kill room not available during current build of game. Option B. Kill her upstairs. Make a statement. I guess my choice was made for me, and what a shit choice it was. Before I could click on option B, I heard a commanding voice come over my speakers.
Stop, or I'll shoot!
I spun my character around to be blinded by a flashlight from what I assumed was a cop, and the game froze. Bright red text flashed across the screen. Quest failed. You failed to disable security systems. Oh, thank God, I wheezed. I didn't know if I could go through with killing my digital self. Hopefully a real killer would be as inept as I was. But this was also a training simulator, a dry run, teaching the killer how to hone his skills. What did they say on those crime shows? Repetition to desensitize oneself to the horror the killer was about to commit, a slow escalation to real violence. I had to go outside and check under the stairs in real life, see if the same items were stashed. But hold up, I may play a dumb white chick in horror movies, but I'm not one in real life. I was going to go prepared. Taser, cell phone with 911 on speed dial, and pepper spray. Bear mace actually. You may be asking why I didn't bring a gun. Well, I had armed security for that. Why didn't I bring my security? Well, one of them could be the one that commissioned the game in the first place. I hated to think about it. Could one of my security guards have a sick fascination with me? I trusted my two guys, but they were both noticeably distant to me. Chalk it up to professionalism, but it also meant I didn't really know them. So I snuck out to my backyard. The night air cool on my skin, with the sound of the unseen palm tree leaves fluttering in the wind. The pool let off its same welcoming glow, and one of my son's toy boats bonked lightly against the side with the gentle waves. I tiptoed to the stairway, running up the building, scanning the darkness the whole time. The idea that this was a trap was not lost on me. Like I said, I've been in horror movies, and somebody could be watching me right now. Under the stairs was just one dumpster, not two. But I silently moved it away to have my stomach dip with dread. There was a wheelbarrow, and shovels, and a riding lawnmower. Okay, so what? My gardener used them. Activating my light on my phone, I looked into the wheelbarrow. Tools, some solar powered light at lawn spikes, and yes, rope. No ball gag though. I breathed easy. The ball gag would have been a dead giveaway, proof that shit just got real. I turned to leave before I thought of something. A ball gag would be too suspicious. A killer wouldn't just leave it out. Maybe he would bring it on the night of the kidnapping. I had something else I wanted to check, so I quickly turned back. My hand raced to the rope, a thin jet black length of about 10 feet of what felt like soft cotton. It was soft and looped in a figure 8. The middle was held together with a silk strand of fabric. It was bondage rope. You didn't have to be a genius to know this wasn't for yard work. This was the rope my killer was going to bind me in. I took off to the safety of my house, but was it safe? I had a list of suspects that all pretty much lived with me or had access to my home. All I knew was I had to play more. I had to dig deeper for clues on who planned to kill or kidnap me. I had to protect my home from this monster. I sent one message back to the enigmatic Herald of the Void. Send me the link to the kill room. Don't forget, if you enjoyed that story, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile and drop them a line. Or even give them a glowing review. I'm sure they really would appreciate it. The link to their Reddit profile will be below in the description. Please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to tap the notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. Oh, and don't forget to share the video far and wide. This will all help with YouTube's algorithm and will help to promote this channel more. And don't forget to check out the merch store. The link will be in the description and also in the video thumbnail. And if you would like an honourable mention, send in a snapshot of yourself with your purchase and I'll feature it in one of the videos. I now have my very own subreddit community where you can submit any stories you've written. You can submit your stories or encounters either there or send them to cryptidsroost@gmail.com. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me. All the links are below. I also have a Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit, and you'll also find me on Discord. If you would like to support this channel and help make it grow, my PayPal is paypal.me/cryptidsroost. Again, that will also be below.